Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. This week, terror came once again to Mumbai, something which unfortunately has happened just too often in the past. India, of course, one of the countries that has faced the scourge of terror more than perhaps just about any other country in the world, with one or two exceptions. And every time we ask ourselves the same question, are things going to change? Is terrorism ever going to go away? Will we at some point feel much safer? There are others who will say that at the end of the day, a lot has been done and perhaps we already are safer. What is the truth? What is the reality? How can we actually deal with this? To answer those questions, we've assembled perhaps some of the top counter-terrorism, anti-terrorism experts that we actually have in the country to get their views. What has happened so far? What more can be done? How can we feel safer? So I'm going to start off by welcoming all my guests and starting off by welcoming Mr. A.K. Karnik, the retired Deputy Director of the Intelligence Bureau, who's joining us from Pune. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And right here in the studio, a range of experts, starting with Prakash Javadekar. Thank you so much, a spokesperson, of course, of the BJP. Mr. Jaidev Ranade, former Additional Secretary, Cabinet Secretariat, in other words, somebody who's worked with RAW. Thank you so much for being with us. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Ajay Sahni of the Institute of Conflict Management and a top counter-terrorism expert. Thank you. In a sense, Bachi Karkaria, who's an old friend of all of ours, consulting editor of the Times of India, somebody from Mumbai who is really going to speak a bit, I think, about the pain of the people who are constantly faced and dealing with this menace. Praveen Swami, Associate Editor of The Hindu, who's done lots and lots of work on counter-terrorism. Thank you so much for being with us. And Kanchan Gupta, Associate Editor of The Pioneers, Senior Journalist, who has very strong views on the subject. We're going to get other experts as we go along. But let me just start off first by asking you people the overall question. Are we safer now, or are we less safe than we used to be a few years ago? Ajay, why don't you kick it off?
Well, purely in terms of statistics, we are safer. In terms of the frequency of such incidents and the total fatalities in the country with relation to Islamist terrorism. But that's not really because of anything that the government can take to its own credit. It's largely because of the difficulties Pakistan is facing internally and the enormous external pressure on Pakistan.
So you're saying it's a confluence of external reasons, which is why, though we face this terrible terror attack again today, you're saying overall we probably are safer than we were
earlier? Yes, total fatalities have been consistently declining since 2001.
Would you agree with that, Kanchan?
Statistically, yes, but the nature of terrorism is also changing. I mean, the way we absolutely, I don't think the government or any agency of the government has a proper idea or a full idea of the scope of infiltration that has taken place. While there have been no direct manifestation of terrorism, we have, I mean, we keep on hearing about fresh arrests being made. What happens? I mean, why are people still being motivated?
Okay.
So we really need to look at those aspects too.
Bachi, on a week like this, nobody feels safe, and it's a terrible, terrible week again. Just when we think that the menace of terrorism is going, incident like this happens. As citizens, how do we feel? Are we safer? Are we not?
I'm going to speak
Statistics
about.
are all
I'm
very
really
well.
going to speak about Mumbai, since you've asked me to speak about Mumbai. It's that, you know, Mumbai's had 15 attacks since 1993, which is really the first time that RDX entered the scene into the urban scenario. And I think, well, statistically, we can all agree. But the point is that even a 0.001% chance is a terrible chance for the person who is actually affected. So in Mumbai, well, everyone was going about their business, you know, on that evening, and we thought we were safe, but we were not. So we are safe till the next attack happens. It's really as simple as that.
Praveen?
I agree with Bachi. 2001, a year Ajay mentioned, important year. We almost went to war with Pakistan because of an attack on our parliament. Ever since then, it's been clear to both Pakistan and to India that we don't have a war, want a war. Pakistan has steadily scaled back the scale of its operations, but it certainly hasn't stopped, shut off the tap altogether. We remain vulnerable. As our neighborhood deteriorates, and it's deteriorating day by day, our vulnerabilities will increase because the pressure on Pakistan...
Although you could argue, as I think Ajay was, that they are so focused internally that they don't have really time to stir
We
up.
have largely relied on the United States and on Pakistan's internal pressure to hope that the tap will be turned off. Whether 5 or 10 years from now Pakistan is in fact in a position to shut that tap off at all is a big question.
But Praveen, no one this time in this particular attack has really been naming Pakistan or mentioned Pakistan. I think everyone's trying to figure out just what happened.
I do not know who carried out that attack, but I don't think anyone in their right mind seriously questions that there are groups on Pakistani soil, as there are groups within India, Hindu, Muslim, and a number of others, who mean us harm. Either we develop the capacities to protect ourselves, or we pay the price in lives. All we have done since 2008 is, I've said this before, I'll say it again, we have painted lipstick on a pig. Our security infrastructure is exactly the same as it was for the larger part before 2008. It looks a little prettier. Nothing significant has changed.
Nothing significant has changed. Mr. Anand, do you agree with that? Before I come to you,
the point that is being made here is that there's been no hardening of our counter-terrorism capability, and I agree with that. Because what I just said was that it's reasons which are outside which have actually resulted in a slowing down of terror strikes in India. It's got nothing to do with what we have done.
Mr. Karnik, I just want to come to you. We've heard so much about all these different plans that are going to come in, intelligence sharing, there's going to be an NCTC, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. There's a whole range of measures that we've been repeatedly talking about. Have those been put into place, or are all of them just up in the air?
I'll put it like this, that we are very good at planning. We can draw a lot of plans, and we can draw programs which are likely to be effective, which have been effective elsewhere also, but we are very poor in implementation. That's why whatever we plan doesn't get implemented. So the center is thinking of forming various organizations, various coordinating agencies to streamline intelligence and all that, but is it being seen on the ground? That is my problem, really speaking.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. Fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.